Welcome to Immigrant in Law's channel. If you dream of seeing Europe but think that traveling between countries is expensive, this video is definitely for you. Today I'm going to tell you how you can literally travel around dozens of cities and countries in Europe on trains at a cheap rate. Yes, you didn't mishear. Exactly, on trains. Convenient, beautiful, and often cheaper than a bus or airplane. Make yourself comfortable. It will be useful both for tourists and for those who have already immigrated and want to discover Europe from a new angle. You might ask, why not a bus or a low-cost carrier? Why choose a train at all when you can fly by air in an hour? My answer is that trains in Europe are not just an alternative, but in many cases the most reasonable and comfortable way to travel. And that's why: convenience. Unlike an airplane, you don't have to drive out of town to the airport, go through security checks, arrive 2 hours before your flight, and then get from another airport to your destination city. With the train, it's simple. You come to the station in the city center, get on the train, and get off in the center of the new city as well. No transfers, no shuttles, and no stress. Flexibility. Trains often do not have a fixed baggage limit. You can safely bring your backpack, suitcase, groceries, and no one will measure your tube or ask you to remove your sweatshirt as hand luggage. In addition, many trains in Europe do not require seat reservations. You just buy a ticket and sit down. Comfort on the road. In the train, you can stand up, walk, stretch, drink coffee, charge your phone, work with your laptop. The seats are more spacious than in low-costers, and if it is an international train, there are often power outlets, Wi-Fi, and even dining cars. For long routes, this is a real gift. Beauty outside the window, and one more advantage, which is often forgotten. On the train, you really see Europe. Alps, fields, villages, old stations, all this flashes outside the window, and it is already part of the journey. The train is not just a means of transportation, but a little adventure. On an airplane, there are only clouds. On a bus, there are traffic jams. But here you are immersed in the atmosphere of the country before you arrive. Cost, if you know where to look. And yes, trains are not always expensive, contrary to the stereotype. If you know where to look for tickets, how to use passes or catch promotions, you can travel around Europe cheaper than by bus or car. For example, traveling from Vienna to Budapest for €9, easy. Munich to Salzburg for €10, you're welcome. So, if you are looking for a balance between comfort, price, and a real experience, the train is your choice. If you really want to experience the freedom of traveling around Europe, remember this word: Interrail. It's basically a single train pass that opens the door to over 30 countries in Europe, including Switzerland, France, Spain, Germany, Scandinavia, the Balkans, and many others. Interrail is only available to EU citizens and residents, meaning if you have a residence permit, you can already use it. If you come with a tourist visa, your rail is for you. The essence is the same, the difference is only in the legal status of the passenger. What is Global Pass? This is the main format of the ticket. You choose the number of days you want to travel and can use trains in any of the participating countries. For example, 4 days of travel within 1 month, from €258. 7 days within a month, about €335. Unlimited for 1 month, from €693. What is a travel day? It is a day in which you can use any number of trains, including international trains. For example, you leave Amsterdam for Brussels in the morning, have lunch there, and go to Paris in the evening. All this counts as 1 day of travel. Why it's profitable? If you buy these routes separately, the cost can be 3 or 4 times higher. For example, Paris, Geneva, from €60 one way, Prague, Berlin, €35. Vienna, Munich, €40. But with Interrail, you pay €35–45 for the whole day, and you can make 2–3 connections without thinking about the price of each ticket. Also, many trains don't require seat reservations, especially regional trains, so you just show up and sit down. There are downsides, so that you're prepared. Some routes, for example high-speed trains in France or Italy, require an additional booking fee, between €10 and €25. This should be taken into account. Overnight trains also often require mandatory seat reservations. The e-ticket must be activated in the app. Keep track of times and dates, otherwise the day will burn up. But even with that, it's still one of the most cost-effective ways to see Europe, especially if you plan more than 3 trips in a month. Interrail does not only operate on international routes. Few people know, but this pass is also valid within countries. That is, you can take it and travel safely, for example in Germany, Spain, or Poland alone. This is especially convenient for those who live in Europe and want to explore neighboring regions without unnecessary bureaucracy. By the way, there is even an option of a travel pass for only one country, the so-called one country pass. For example, Italy, from €144 for 3 days of travel. Spain, from €148. France, from €170. A great solution if you are already in one country and want to explore it properly. To whom Interrail is convenient? Immigrants with residence permits. If you live in the EU, this is a great way to get to know the continent. Young people up to 27 years old have 25% discount on all passes. Families. Tickets for children under 11 are free if traveling with an adult. For tourists who plan to travel to several countries at once, this is a must-have. So if you're looking for a take one ticket and go wherever you want format, Interrail is your key to freedom. Let's say you are not ready to spend €250 to €300 immediately on Interrail or Eurail. That's absolutely fine. The good news is that there are plenty of ways to travel by train in Europe without a pass, and very cheaply if you know where to look. Here's a whole bunch of real options that work, tested more than once. Budget tickets from national railroads. In many countries, there are public railroad operators that regularly organize promotions, fix cheap fares, or offer season tickets for travel within the country. Germany, Deutschland Ticket. €49 per month, unlimited on all regional trains, subways, streetcars and buses nationwide, perfect for leisurely journeys, for example from Munich to Nuremberg, Hamburg to Bremen, Berlin to Dresden. You can buy online at bahn.de or in the DB Navigator app. France. Tickets for €10–12 within the region. The SNCF website often has offers within regions, especially during vacation periods. In 2024, the French government launched a national season ticket for young people for €49, similar to the German Deutschland ticket. Works on TER and Intercities, regional and intercity trains, but not TGVs. Italy. Regional trains from €5 to €15. Trenitalia and Italo have a huge network of cheap trips between major cities. Rome, Florence, from €8.90. Bologna, Milan, from €9.90. Naples, Salerno, €4.90. The key is to avoid the Frecciarossa high-speed trains if you want to save money. Poland, tickets from €3 to €8. Polish Railways, PKP Intercity, offer a lot of tickets around the country, especially if taken in advance. Warsaw, Krakow can be traveled for €6–10 by express train. There are also night routes to the Czech Republic, Slovakia and Austria. The Czech Republic is a paradise for budget travelers. Regional and intercity roads from €2 to €7. Prague, Brno, €5. Prague, Ostrava, €6. Website cd.cz, and private companies RegioJet and Leo Express are also popular. Life hacks for buying tickets. To pay many times less, you just need to follow a few simple rules. Buy in advance. Many tickets become available 2–3 months before the travel date, at which point they are literally 3–5 times cheaper. Choose less crowded days. Sunday, Monday and Friday evening are the most expensive. Tuesday and Wednesday are the cheapest. Travel in the morning or afternoon is cheaper than in the evening. Watch out for promotions and special offers on the operators' websites. Sometimes there are tickets for €1, especially with private companies like Flixtrain, RegioJet, Leo Express. Use bonus programs and cashback. Trainline and Omio often give you a partial refund. Price comparison with buses and low-cost carriers. Sometimes a train can cost less than a bus. Train Prague-Krakow from €9, bus €12–15. And along with this, the train is faster. No traffic jams. The station is in the city center. Comfort is much better. And if you compare it with a low-cost carrier, especially with airport transfers, baggage fees and time, the train is often not only more convenient, but also 30–40% cheaper. Group and family tickets. Many countries have special offers for 2 or 3 people traveling together. In Germany, there is the Schönes Wochenende ticket, one price for the whole group of up to 5 people. In Austria, there is the Klima ticket or tickets with partners. The second person travels free of charge. In Poland and the Czech Republic, there are also common discounts for paired trips and student tickets. So, if you are not traveling alone, be sure to check group fares. Sometimes it can save you up to 60% of the total amount. If you don't want to pay for a travel pass, no problem. Europe offers plenty of ways to travel cheaply, comfortably, and without restrictions, especially if you prepare a little bit in advance. Even without passes and specials, you can travel between European countries at very good prices. Below are real routes that you can easily find from €5 to €12 if you book in advance or choose regional trains. Here are just a few examples. Berlin to Prague, from €14, one of the most popular routes in Central Europe. The trip takes about 4.5 hours, and tickets are available from Deutsche Bahn or private operators like RegioJet. Vienna, Budapest, from €9. The route is only 2.5 hours long. Comfortable cars, beautiful views, and a frequent schedule. Trains run every hour. Munich, Salzburg, €9–12. A great way to travel to the Alps for a day. Tickets at this fair are available on regional trains. Meridian or Bayerische Regiobahn. Prague, Bratislava, from €6. An ideal short trip between the capitals of 2 neighboring countries. You can have breakfast in the Czech Republic and lunch in Slovakia. Milan, Geneva, from €19. Yes, this is already a train across the border with Switzerland, but if you book in advance on the Trenitalia website, you can leave for the price of a cafe in Italy. Krakow, Ostrava, Czech Republic, from €5. Regional routes in Eastern Europe are some of the most budget-friendly, yet quite scenic. Ljubljana, Slovenia, Zagreb, Croatia, from €8. A lesser-known route, but very interesting. You cross the border between the 2 Balkan countries in a couple of hours. Tip: if you are traveling in Central and Eastern Europe, try to combine regional trains and pre-purchased express trains. This way, you can travel 3–4 countries for €30–40 in total. And if you're traveling in 2s or 3s, don't forget to check if there's a group fare. Often it's not advertised, but it's available for purchase through national websites. If you want to combine traveling and overnight accommodation, choose overnight trains. This is one of the most underrated ways to save money. You travel at night, sleep on the train, and arrive in a new city in the morning without spending time or money on a hotel. In Europe, there is a whole network of Nightjet, Euronight, and local overnight routes, especially in Austria, Germany, Poland, the Czech Republic, and the Balkans. What's important to know, there are different types of seats: sitting, lying down, couchette, sleeping compartments. Prices vary: seat from 15 euros, lying compartment from 30-50 euros, separate sleeping compartment from 70 euros and more. Overnight trains almost always require reservations, even if you have a pass like Interrail. It's best to buy in advance. The cheapest seats sell out quickly. Trains often have a sheet, pillow, blanket, and sometimes breakfast. Clean, safe, and comfortable. Life hack: choose a train that leaves after 7 p.m. and count that day of travel on Interrail as one day, even if you arrive the next day. This rule is called the 7 p.m. rule, and it helps stretch your pass to the max. In the next block, I'll tell you exactly where to look for all these tickets so you don't overpay or get confused by booking systems. If you already live in one of the EU countries, traveling by train can be an important part of your adjustment, rather than just fun, especially in the first year after your move. Here's why it really works. You begin to better understand the mentality of neighboring peoples, how life is organized, how people speak, how they communicate. It broadens your horizons and helps you feel home in Europe. It is an opportunity to improve your foreign language in a natural environment. Even a short trip to a neighboring country can give you 2-3 days of live communication, reading signs, menus, navigation, without compulsion, but with real benefit. Such mini vacations help relieve the stress and anxiety of immigration. New impressions, change of scenery, beautiful road outside the window, all this gives rest to your head and brings back motivation. And finally, you start to see that Europe is really open, not only formally, on paper, but also in real life. You can take a train in the morning and in a few hours be in a different country with a different language, culture, and cuisine. If you've just moved and aren't sure how to fit into a new community, start with small trips. It is safe, inexpensive, and very effective. And sometimes such itineraries help you to find a dream city where you will want to move to later on in a conscious way. As you can now see, traveling around Europe by train is not a luxury, but an affordable and reasonable option. It is not only a way to see the world, but also a way to adapt, to feel more confident in a new space, to get acquainted with neighboring countries and cultures, without going broke. You can take a pass and travel half a continent, or you can catch promotions, combine regional routes and buy tickets in advance. Either way, the train always gives you more than just transportation. It gives you a sense of journey, freedom, and the real Europe outside your window. If you already live in the EU, make sure you take advantage of this. If you're just planning a move, know that living in Europe offers plenty of opportunities, not only for work and documents, but also for inspiring travel without borders. Request a free consultation with immigrant-in-law lawyers. We will choose the best relocation strategy for you, prepare all the necessary documents, explain in detail the nuances of the law, and answer all your questions. We will analyze your case, your goals, your situation, without templates. Want to learn more or start the process today? Contact us. All contacts are listed in the description below this video. We're here to help you take a confident step toward a new life. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and ask your questions in the comments. I will be happy to answer them. Discover a world of opportunities with Immigrant-in-Law.